Shalom, everyone. I'm sorry I couldn't late. I fell asleep. Tell the truth. Went upstairs to lay down for a minute, and I lay down for 1 minute. It's true, 1 minute, but the minute ended up to be, it was 29 minutes before it, or maybe 29 minutes after it. Anyway, that's where it goes. Okay. This week's Torah portion is about Korach. Korach somehow or other became famous. He got his name put in the Torah, the Holy Torah for all eternity. And especially if you consider that the Torah was written before the world was created. So somehow this whole story was written before the world was created. Does that make any sense? Absolutely not, but that's the truth. So what's the story about Korach? Let's read it quickly. At least what he did. We'll learn about the punishment tomorrow. Vayikach Korach ben Yitzhar ben Kahat ben Levi Datan ba'aviram b'nei Eliav ba'on ben Pelas b'nei Reuven. The Korach, the son of Yitzhar, maybe the son of Kahat, was the son of Levi. Levi was one of the 12 sons of Jacob. What did he take? Doesn't say what he took. Doesn't say. Let's look at the next sentence. They took and they stood up in front of Moses. What did they take? Doesn't say what they took. So Rashi explains they took themselves to a side. They took bad advice. Also, there was Datan va'aviram. Datan va'aviram, they're going to make trouble all the way through the whole Torah for Moses. Datan va'aviram, the son of Eliav and On ben Pelas. These were all from the tribe of Reuven. If you see how the tribes were camped in the desert. You want to see? 1 second. Let's have a look at this here. Yeah, let's have a look at this. I want to show you something. 1 minute. Here. Just one. Okay. That's it. Let's see if we can find this. 1 second. Give me a minute here. Here. There you go. Now I don't know if you can see this, so I don't know if this thing works. So I'm going to do it like this, and like this, and like this. Okay, here we go. And let's see this here. There we go. Right here, look, see, this is how they're camped in the desert. See, they're camped. Here we have here's the, why am I showing you this? You'll see in a second. Here we have the tabernacle in the desert. This whole thing happened in the desert, right? Here we have the tabernacle. And here we have the entrance of the tabernacle. This is the east side. East side is where the entrance is. And we have Moses and Aaron as on the east side, right? This is the south. The south. Who's camped over here on the south side? Is Kahat. Kahat is going to make all the trouble now. Kahat, that's where Korach comes from. Moses also comes from it. That's going to be the problem. So here we have Kahat, and Kahat, they are camped on the same side as Reuven. See, there's Reuven. This is the whole tribe of Reuven, and there's the family of Kahat. Kahat was one of the families of the Levites. So they're right next to each other. and they're going to make trouble. That's what we're going to see. Okay, back to the right. On Ben Pelis, Datan and Aviram, they're troublemakers. On Ben Pelis will learn about him. He ends up to be sort of like, if you want to call it a sort of a hero in this whole thing. His wife becomes to be the heroine. She keeps him away from the whole thing. We'll learn about that in this here. Beautiful explanation of it. The Daat Zkanim. Woo! Excuse me. Also, Rashi explains it very well. There's also beautiful commentary over here by the Ramban and the Kli Yakar and Orach Chaim, but our time is limited. Okay. And Vayakumu Livnei Moshe, they all stood up in front of Moses. All these people, the whole tribe of Kahat, his family, and Reuven, and people from Bnei Israel, Chamishim Umatayim, important people, 250 people from Israel, important people. We'll see that these were members of the Sanhedrin, big judges. Eventually, he gets everybody. So it's not just these people. He goes around and convinces everyone. You'll see. Fifth time says, Nasiya Ida, leaders of the congregation, Kri Moed, people that are like called whenever there's anything important. Anshe Shem, famous people. Korach wins the election, in other words. He's already starting his campaigning. He does a fantastic job. He's his own campaign manager, and he convinces everybody. But Yakilu Moshe Aaron, all these people, the whole tribe, the Levites and the Korach, the 250 men, and they said, Rav Lechem, enough, right? All these people, they went against Moses and Aaron, and they said, enough, both of you. Everybody's holy. And God is among everybody. Why have you elevated yourself above the congregation of God? Who are you guys? Moses and Aaron. That you elevated yourself over everybody else. What have you done for the Jewish people? Moses and Aaron. What? See, it took us out of Egypt. Big deal. You got bread from heaven. So what? That's all in the past. Water from a rock. Receive the Torah at Mount Sinai. Okay, come on, let it go, Moses. Let it go. Okay, you were big in the past. You were a big champion. But now the times have changed. They say this whole thing happened immediately after the spies. What claims could they possibly come up with this whole thing? The Lubavitcher Rebbe explains that as soon as Moses said the main thing was to go into the land of Israel, that's the spies stood up, right? All the spies stood up, the scouts, and they convinced all the Jewish people not to go into Israel. And Moses said, you guys are really going to get it. You fellas are going to get, you don't know what you did. You tried to convince the Jewish people not to go into the land of Israel. And so everybody says, so what's the big thing about it? Land of Israel? I don't know, what's the point, Moses? Come on, calm down, man. What's the big thing about the land of Israel? We're all together, we're here in the desert. What difference is it? He says, no, in the land of Israel, there's commandments. Commandments. Here in the desert, there's no commandments. In Israel, you do the commandments. So many agricultural commandments, so many commandments depend on Israel. You have to go into Israel. And also the commandments have a totally different power when they're in Israel. So Korach overheard this. He said, the main thing is the commandments, Moses? Listen, as far as Torah goes, you're the greatest. No one comes anywhere near to you. As far as Torah, you're the king. Right, you got the Torah. But now you're saying commandments are the main thing. Everybody's the same when they do the commandments. Right? When I put on tefillin, it's the same thing as you. commandments are just, everybody's holy. That's what they said. Calling the Kulam Kadashim. We were all holy. We were at Mount Sinai. We got the Torah. We got the commandments. As far as Torah goes, we need you to explain. But as commandments, we don't need you. Anyone, commandments, everyone's equal. Why are you elevating yourself on the congregation of God? We'll see what the other commentaries say. Vayishma Moshe v'yipol al panav. Moses heard this and he fell on his face. Why? Because of the machlokas, the argument they made. This is already, it says a lot of things. They had done so many terrible things, the Jewish people. It says what they had already, the Jewish people already had sinned with the golden calf. And then they started complaining about the food. Moses prayed. Then there were the scouts, the spies. Moses prayed. Now all of a sudden here we have this thing with Korach. As Moses said, listen, what can I do? I can't pray anymore for these people. They're just awful. What can I say? Okay. Vayadaber el Korach, Moses spoke back to Korach and everyone and said, Boker in the morning, God will know who, he'll show everyone who belongs to him and who is holy and who's close to him. And whoever God chooses, God will make close to him. Right? You'll see, God will make what does he say everybody to do? This is what you do. Everyone take fire pans, like sort of like frying pans without a handle. And everybody, and put in it fire and put on it incense in front of God tomorrow. And the person that God chooses, he'll be holy enough. B'nai Levi, enough for all you people. I've had enough of you. Moses said, listen, I got one more thing to say. Isn't it enough for you that God separated you off from all the rest of the congregation and made you come close to him to serve God in the tabernacle, in the temple, and to stand in front of him in order to serve him? And he made you and all of your brothers, the sons of Levi, with you. And now it's not enough. You want to be Kohen. They wanted to be Kohanim. They didn't want Moses to be the leader. They wanted to be. Therefore, you and all of your congregation, Moses is still speaking. You're making war against, you're gathering against God. And Aaron, who is he that you're complaining about him? And then Moses, then they left. Moses then sent to call Datan and Aviram, Bnei Eliav, and they said, we're not coming. In other words, before Moses was speaking to the Levites, now also Datan and Aviram, they left. Moses said, come back, let's make an agreement. I want to tell you something. He says, isn't it enough? They said, we're not coming. Datan and Aviram, we're not coming. Why not? You haven't taken us. You promised that you're going to take us to a land flowing with milk and honey. You didn't take us there. You want to kill us here in the desert. Now you also want to rule over us? They said, also not the land of milk and honey. They repeat it again. You didn't done it. You said you were going to give us portions. We're going to have vineyards and everything. Now you want to take out our eyes, right? We're not going to let you do it. Moses got mad and he said, okay, tomorrow everybody's going to bring a fire pan with incense in it. Moses said, don't listen to their offering. I never took anything from them, not one donkey did I ever take, and I never did any bad to anybody. Now, this is sort of not understandable. Why does Moses have to say to God, don't listen to them? But the answer is sometimes a person will pray for the essence of his heart. And even though it's bad for everybody, but nevertheless, a genuine prayer is God will listen to it. And here Moses is praying to God, don't listen to their prayers. Also, we see the humility of Moses. He didn't really hold any good to himself. He didn't say, hey, God, come on, I think you owe me a little bit of protection over here. I took the Jews out of Egypt. I did all these things for them. Let's have a little, cooperation, God. Take care of them. No, Moses didn't say that. He said, please don't listen to their sacrifice. They're going to make a sacrifice. Don't listen to it. Okay, what exactly happened over here? What exactly happened? The Rebbe explains that the problem with there's a lot of explanations with this. We're going to see they vary, and they're all true to a certain degree, even though they might conflict one with the other. The Rebbe says the big problem over here is what type of a leader Moses was. They didn't mind that Moses was a leader. They didn't like the type of leader that Moses was. Moses was like a king. That Moses told people to do things, and they had to do what Moses said, no matter how, I say, illogical and unreasonable it seemed. And Moses always went against the grade of everybody. The Jews didn't want to leave Egypt. Moses forced them to leave Egypt. The Jews wanted to return to Egypt. Moses told them not to go. The Jews didn't want to cross over the sea. Moses split the sea. The Jews didn't want to receive the Torah. They wanted to keep going. They said, Moses, you go and listen. Moses did. The Jews wanted to stay in the desert. Whatever the nature of the Jews, Moses was always going against the nature of the Jews, especially now. So they said, okay, listen, Moses, you took us out of Egypt. Good. We admit it. We were wrong. You took us across the sea. Okay, we were confused. We didn't know what was going on. I mean, you have to admit, God was talking to you. He wasn't talking to us. We were all alone here, and God was speaking to you directly, encouraging you. So we didn't exactly have that. So, okay, but we admit we're wrong. And then we got the Torah. And now we got this thing about not going into the land of Israel. We're wrong about all that. But listen, Moses, to go out of Egypt, we needed you. To receive the Torah, we needed you. We needed you. To decide to go into Israel, we needed you. Okay, enough. We got out of Egypt, got the Torah, we're going into Israel, right? We're going to go another 40 years, whatever. But okay, that we've resolved that problem. Now we don't need you anymore. Moses, we don't need a king. We were all in Mount Sinai. We're all holy. We can make decisions for ourselves. We're not babies. Right, everyone? And Korach turned to everyone. We're going to see, it convinces everybody. And everyone has said, right, Korach, you're right. Listen, Moses, we like you. We'll give you a gold watch or something, but they want to put Moses in retirement. That's it. Communism. Everyone rules. No leaders. We don't need any more leaders. No leaders. Everyone's a leader. We're all bosses. Everyone's a boss. Everyone is a boss. So very appealing, very nice ideas, appealing ideas. But it's wrong, because the fact is that Moses is a boss and everyone else is the servants of Moses, because Moses wasn't the boss. God was the boss, and Moses was the ultimate servant of God. He was the ultimate servant of God. So that's what everyone was against. Everyone was against Moses being a king. A king is the person who is the most surrendered to the creator of the universe, like King David, King this. And they didn't accept that. They said, we're all holy, we're all surrendered. Also, the thing about Moses doing the commandments. The commandments, everyone is equal. And Moses says, not so. We'll meet in the morning. Just like there's a difference between evening and morning, so there's a difference between how I do the commandments and how you do the commandments. Because the commandments, if you just don't even know what you're doing, you're just saying, okay, this is what God commanded, it's in the Torah, so I'll do it. So you did the commandments. But there's genuineness, sincerity, wholeheartedness that can be put into the commandments, that one person doing a commandment is totally different. That's the idea of Moses. Okay, then we have Datan va'Aviram. They're constant troublemakers all the time. We'll see, they appear anytime there's trouble in the Torah, it's always them. They're the ones that, it says they were the ones also that turned Moses in. They were the ones that informed on Moses that he had killed to Paro. He had killed the Egyptian. Okay. let's go now back to the beginning. We're going to see the amazingly weird punishment that Korach and all of his people they get. I don't know if it's much more weird than the spies. This is the spies. Their tongues grew out to their navel, and worms went out of the tongue and went into them. That's pretty. We don't see that every day. That's pretty bizarre. That's what happened to the scouts. And Korach, it says that there's a big hole that opened up in the ground, and it sucked them in. But that does happen once in a while. There are these these holes. Okay. Let's go. Let's just do it another 5-10 minutes. Vayikach Korach ben Yitzhar ben Kahat ben Levi and Datan v'Aviram, the sons of Eliav, and On ben Pelas b'nei Reuven. It says this is explained very well. Says Rashi. We're doing Rashi in Medrash Tanchuma. Korach took. What did he take? Doesn't say what he took. It says he took himself to one side. Liot nechalach, to divide, to separate himself from the whole entire congregation, and to make an argument about who is going to be the Kohen, the priest. That's what Onkelos says. Ve'et paleg. Here, see, we have it. Where is it? There we go. Onkelos. Targum, Aramaic translation of Onkelos the Ger, and Yonatan ben Uziel, another. It says Ve'et paleg Korach. That Korach. This is done with Ruach HaKodesh. This is done with holy inspiration. Et paleg Korach. At Korach, the son of Yitzhar, he disagreed. At paleg, he separated. What did he do? Vayikach Korach, another one of Vayikach, he took, what did he take? He took the heads of all the Sanhedrins from all the different tribes. I'm sorry. Okay, Vayikach, another place. It says the same thing, Vayikach. Another explanation that he took the heads of all the judicial courts that, and with his speaking, he knew how to convince people. It says, Kachat Aaron, like it says, take them. He took 250 heads of the various Sanhedrins, and Ben Yitzhar, Ben Kahat, Ben Levi. It doesn't mention Jacob. It should say Yitzhar, Ben Kahat, Ben Levi, the son of Jacob. Why doesn't it mention Jacob? Because Jacob requested mercy on himself that his name should not be mentioned here in this argument. Like it says, Bikahalam Tavo Kvodi. I'm sorry. Bikahalam al Tehad Kvodi. In their congregation, my name, my reputation should not be connected. But it is mentioned later on. Okay, Datan v'Aviram. Where's Datan v'Aviram? Because they came from the tribe of Reuven. I just showed you, right, that they were all camped on the south side. The family of Kahat was near the tabernacle on the south side. And on the outside of on that same south side was the whole entire tribe of Reuven, because Kahat and they were all in the south. Therefore, all of them Kahat, they joined with Kahat, and they joined with Korach in his argument. And here we have the famous statement: "Oy l'Rasha, oy l'Shcheno." Woe to the evil person, woe to his neighbor. Woe to the evil person, woe to his neighbor. Listen, you want to be friends with your next door neighbor. If your next door neighbor is an evil person, so, you figure, come on, I'll just join in with a little bit, so at least we won't have any trouble. And that's what happened, and they all got trouble. Why did Korach get into this argument? It's a long explanation. I don't want to explain it. He said because it was a family thing. That's how Rashi explains it. There's so many other explanations about this, but so what did he do in the end? He took all these people that were on his side, he put all of them talit, like the garment that you put the tzitzis on the four corners. The talit he made from all this blue colored talit, and he said a talit that's all blue. Does it have to have tzitzit or not? He said, of course you have to have tzitzit. What's the question? So they all laughed at him. They said a talit that's made from anything else, it's all white, whatever, one strand of blue exempts it, right? You put 32 strands on the corners, 16 strands doubled over, and one of those 16 strands doubled over on each corner is blue. So you have 4 strings of blue that basically does the whole commandment. And here we have a talit, the whole thing is blue. It has thousands of strings of blue. Isn't that enough? And everybody laughed at him. We're going to see On Ben Peles, his wife saves him. His wife saves him. We're going to get to that. Let's see if we do. It says, Baal Aturim, Vayikach Korach. This is right next to Tzitzit. Remember the last thing we learned last week was the commandment of Tzitzit that's in the very end of last week's Torah portion. This is because of that. That's why it's right next to it, because they took Tzitzit, they took that as an example to make fun of Moses. Now, by the way, there's another place also, it says a different similar thing. It says that Korach, that he asked Moses, tell me, a house that's filled with books of Torah, does it have to have a mezuzah on the door? And Moses said, of course it does. And they laughed. They said, mezuzah is just one little poor part of the Torah. And here you have a house that's filled with, let's say, Torah scrolls. For sure you don't have to have. And they all laughed. What's the point? What did he want to do over here? He wants to, with the tzitzis, with this, he wants to try to point out that everybody is equal and everyone is the same. Korach was really a very, very holy person. He wanted to say, listen, if God is everywhere, we're going to learn about that in the morning, in the morning class. If God is everywhere, that's we learned, remember Soviet Kolomim and the Makif and all these. If God is really everywhere, and God is everything, and that's the commandments come from this level. So it shouldn't be that important, all the details of the commandments. Just the idea that you want to do the commandments come from the surrounding level. So it's enough that you just want to do them. That's good enough. So we don't have to have, so therefore he said, if you have a talit, it has to have the strand of blue, so it doesn't make that much difference where the blue is. You have to have a house that has a mezuzah on the door, and mezuzah says Shema Yisrael, so it doesn't make any difference where the Shema Yisrael is, if it's on the door or not. The same thing is with us. It doesn't make any difference who is the Kohen and who is the Levi. We're also Kohen. Everybody can be a Kohen, everybody can be a Levi. And that's what they wanted to do. They wanted to destroy the hierarchy that Moses was the leader. They didn't like that, which in a way is a pretty good idea. You know, why shouldn't everybody be equal? But the fact of the matter is that Moses, in fact, was superior to everyone else. He was, God chose him to speak through him. It's the same thing in the time of the first temple. There were all these false prophets. The regular prophets were like outnumbered 10 to 1, 100 to 1 by false prophets. There were these people who were spiritual and they got some sort of spiritual feeling. And they thought, listen, if Jeremiah is talking, everybody listens to him. So why can't I talk? Everybody's listening to me. Right? The difference is that everybody listened to what Jeremiah said, but nobody did what they said, what he said. They listened to what he had to say. And then they said, okay, you finished? Now go talk to somebody else. And the false prophets, they said, I am a prophet of the Lord, and I'm telling you, the Lord is saying to me, you do not have to put on tefillin anymore, right? Only if you want to. Everybody said, oh, that's a prophet. That's what we like. It's the same type of a thing here. Korach, this is the gematria of Ze Mekach Ra. This is a bad business. Okay. So I'll just have to go, let me go over this quickly because really we're sort of going over the time here. The Daat Zkanim says that, what did he take? He said he made a very bad decision. Korach, his name was Korach. Why? Because he made a korcha, a division between the Jewish people. Korach means a separation. Koreach, mikan, separation. Another, Korach is the gematria Shin Daled Daled Shaddad. He destroyed the Jewish people, especially the commandments. He didn't do the commandments of God. Yitzhar, why Yitzhar? That he boiled up the whole world. He, like Saharayim, like in the middle of the day. Ben Kahat, Kihat, that he dulled the teeth of God and also of his family. Ben Levi, that he escorted everyone to hell. Okay, etc., etc. It goes to this. There's On Ben Peles. It says over there that he was in the tribe of Reuven, and his wife said to On Ben Peles. Remember, he was mentioned right over here in the beginning. On Ben Peles. Why is he even mentioned? On Ben Peles. It says the people, the whole tribe of Reuven was against. It says because On Ben Peles was something special. On Ben Peles, his wife said to him, "What are you doing?" And he said, "Oh, I'm in with Korach. We're going against Moses. We're going to put a stop to this." And she said, "Listen, what are you? Sit down for a second. Listen, let's talk. What benefit are you going to get if Korach he wants to rule? Korach wants to rule himself. Sure, he says communism and everybody's going to be equal and everything, but the fact of the matter is he wants to be the head. He's going to say, no, everyone's equal, but I have to have someone like me to maintain equality. So it doesn't make any difference if Moses is the head or Korach is the head. You're not going to be the head." She said, "Well, what am I going to do? I already signed in with these guys, So she said, "Listen, you just stay at home. Go inside the house and let me." She went out to in front of the house, sat in front of the house, and she let her hair reveal. The Jewish woman is supposed to cover her hair up. She let her hair out, sat in the entrance. Now, Korach and all these people, they were big rebellers and they were against God, but they were very, chaste and modest people, right? Their sin was not licentiousness. We'll get to that later. The sin of licentiousness, that's going to come in. We're going to see with Pinchas, we're going to get to that. The Jewish people enjoy all the bad things, and whatever you can think of, Jewish people enjoy it, right? Especially if it's not, there are some Jewish people that enjoy it, or maybe all the people some of the time enjoy it. This was not the sin over here. Here the sin was who's going to be the leader. So she sat in front of her house and she undid her hair, and they said, "Well, we can't come close, this is not modest. A woman's not hair uncovered." So they all left him alone. And by that, she saved his life. She saved his life. Of On Ben Peles. They gathered in front of Moshe, 250 people, important people in front of Moses. Let's just do one more. Who are these people? Elitzur ben Shdeur and all of his friends. These were the leaders of the tribe of Reuven. Even though the Torah doesn't tell what their names are, but nevertheless, those are the ones who gathered up against Moses. All these tremendously important people, and we're going to see later on. Let's see if I can find this over here. That that Korach convinces everybody. Let's see, where is it? There it goes. Let me find this. No, it's right over here. It's the beginning of the third. That I have to find that Rashi. That Korach, the whole night, he went around and convinced everyone in Israel to go against Moses. Convinced everyone. And in the morning, you're going to see that Moses says, "Okay, everyone, keep away. There's going to be trouble." And all of a sudden, a big hole opens up in the ground. And no, it doesn't say, okay. We'll see that later. How he convinces everyone to go against Moses. Incredible. And this is what we're going to learn, God willing, tomorrow. I'm sorry, we started a little bit late today. I fell asleep. Let's do Pirkei Avot.